Amendola firing, touchdown!
Tonight's Coaches Show with Norwin Knights coach Dave Brozeski is presented by the Ground Round near the Westmoreland Mall in Greensburg. Whether it's specialty burgers and sandwiches, one-of-a-kind fajitas, or one of their homemade dinners, we've got what you like at the Ground Round.
Welcome back on the C. Harper pregame show from Knights Stadium on the Westmoreland Sports Network. Dan Flickinger joining you now. And first of all, we have an interview coming up with Zach Hall in just a couple of moments. But first, it is time for the head coach Dave Brozeski show. And it is brought to you by the Ground Round in Greensburg. We've got what you like. And Coach, as we talked about earlier this week, I know you've been through 18 of these, I guess, as an assistant coach, talking about the season openers. But now you being a head coach at Norwin, again, a place you take a lot of pride in. Is it a little bit more exciting this year, leading the guys through the tunnel?
Yeah, I mean, first opening weekend is exciting, no matter whatever role you have. But it's definitely a very different being the head coach, and you're thinking about all the different things as opposed to maybe just your one side of the ball and everything. But yeah, it's very exciting, and very excited to get this season started.
How much pride do you take in being the head coach of the Norwin Knights, hired, it probably seems like a long time ago now as the head coach, but again, you've been here for so long, 17 years as an assistant. Now you get to kind of take the reins. How good does it feel, and how much pride do you have being the head coach of the Norwin Knights football program?
Well, I have tremendous pride in Norwin, and I teach here. I've been teaching here since my 19th year, coaching here my 18th year, and obviously my first year as head coach. And I'm hoping that in trying to instill that pride in all the players and all the community and everybody that's involved in Norwin, to try to bring Norwin pride to everything that we do here, and trying to be an example of that.
I know you always stress the core elements to this team, but when you were hired, talk about the type of things that you were looking for to change in this football program to kind of get it to where you want it to be. What type of things did you think needed to be instilled in the football program to begin to kind of turn it into the type of program that everybody wants the Norwin football program to be?
Yeah, I mean, we have the 5 core principles of discipline, communication, trust, perseverance, and pride. And that's what I believe in, is what our coaching staff believes in, and we're going to try to hammer that home with all the coaching that we do in all the levels. And we believe that by taking those 5 core principles together and working with that we're going to be able to instill the characteristics and the mentality and all the work ethic that's required to help us turn this program around.
Was there anything specifically, Coach, when you came in that you kind of identified? I keep saying came in, but again, you were part of the staff for so long. Anything specific that you identified as a coaching staff that you kind of wanted to be better in right away?
I mean, we have a motto that you're always trying to get better every day. So, the one specifically area, it's hard to just say one area, because it's not always just pinpointed on one thing. It's, coaches, players, community, school, everything. But the biggest thing that we rally around would probably be our pride, and the fact that you have to have pride in everything that you do. And with that, if you have pride in what you're doing, you're going to work hard at it. And we have to trust our teammates, have to trust our coaches, and trust everybody, so that when we go out there, we're a team. And we have a statement that everyone is needed on our team, but no one is necessary. And the idea of that is that we're all here together, and we're working through this and hopefully finishing in the fourth quarter.
You have a good core of returning players from last season. Has that made the transition a little bit easier for you? I know, again, you've coached here for so long as an assistant, but these guys know, what you demand out of them being an assistant coach and now a head coach. Did that make the transition a little bit easier for everybody?
Yeah, we have a great bunch of kids, and they've been working very hard in the off season here. And their familiarity with me as a coach as well as a teacher has helped that. We have a lot of coaches on staff that are, a lot of coaches on my football staff that are also teachers and involved in the community, and so that helps with this. But again, we really made some changes in the off season, really worked them hard, and we've had a countdown down for the beginning of the season, way back when when I first got hired, and now it's down to that opening day, so it's exciting.
Here we are, no doubt about it. I have to ask you too about your quarterback position. Last season we saw a lot of Nick Amendola, also Sean Bowen. I know this year was kind of battle in camp between those two, sharing snaps with one another. Can you kind of let us in on who's going to be seeing the bulk of the snaps here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, both Nick and Sean have done a great job over the summer, and they've competed very well. Nick is going to be the starting quarterback, and like we tell all the players in any position that regardless of whether you're a starter or not, you're one play away from getting into that game if you're not a starter. And just because you're not a starter doesn't mean you're not important. Again, everybody is needed for the team, and so I'm very proud of how they competed, and I'm very confident in the fact that if and when Sean is needed, he's going to be able to step in and help lead the team.
And talking about Nick, a strong arm, a kid that can also run with the football. Can you talk about how you've seen him progress from last year to this year? I know we haven't played a game yet, but just so far in the offseason through camp and through the scrimmages?
Yeah, Nick he has done a heck of a job committing himself physically in the weight room and really working out to physically change his body and everything. He's got a great work ethic. He's got a great competitive attitude, and he's a born leader. You can just tell that he's a born leader with that. And he's gonna be a person that is going to help the team in the best that he can, and through any modality, throwing the ball, running the ball, whatever. And he's worked real hard at his mechanics, and we're always working on that. But he definitely brings something else to the table when he's able to run the ball.
It's cool to see the Dairies in the backfield. I know that Logan will be used kind of as an H-back, and Peyton will be more of a traditional halfback. But can you kind of talk about those two guys and the type of, what kind of spark they give you on offense?
Yeah, those two, again, like Nick, Zach Hall, a lot of the guys, Zeke Klujeric, a lot of the guys, Johnny Lichetto, have been really working hard throughout the course of the offseason. And Peyton and Logan, again, have made a big commitment. They're multiple sport athletes. They both ran track as well as playing basketball and football. So it's nice to see them involved with that, and they're really committed to working out with that. And they have that competitiveness, like we said with Nick. And they have the competitiveness on the field, but they also have it with each other, and it's always neat to kind of see that.
Yeah, absolutely. They're always going to try to outdo one another, and that's always good for the team. But that was going to be my next question. You mentioned Lichetto and some of these other guys that have also worked hard, Klujeric as well, because it doesn't come down to just a couple of guys. It really is a team effort. I know it's a cliche thing to say, but when you talk about offensively and where you guys are at right now, you need everybody to step in.
Oh, definitely. And those are just some of the skill guys. And one of the biggest things that I'm pleased with over the summer and through the offseason has been a lot of our line guys. I mean, we have Anthony Milwaukee, Corey Chrisman, we have Dante Rizzo, Hayden Rice. We have Tyler Grace, a kid who's been working out very hard with that. Zach Modrak. I mean, we have a lot of guys that have been working really hard and developing the fact that, like we say, all the games are won and lost in the trenches, and it's really nice to see them work. And we're starting to come together as a team. And every competitive opportunity we have helps us learn lessons, and we'll see what happens here tonight.
Yeah, pretty big offensive line too. That's certainly nice to see. We're going to be talking with Zach Hall coming up in just a couple of moments. I know you mentioned Zach. Talk about, as a senior and a captain, it's all about buying in, especially when you're a new head coach. I know it's all about buying in. I'm sure these captains have done that, and it kind of has a rippled down effect to the rest of the team. But talk about Zach and kind of what he brings to the table.
Yeah, Zach, he was one of the 3 elected captains for the season. Zach Hall, Logan Derry, and Nick Amendola. And it's a great compliment being voted on by your peers. And then we have a rotating honorary game, or not honorary, but a game captain, excuse me. And this week is Corey Chrisman. But with Zach's a tremendous student, first of all. He's a tremendous man. He's just a great kid. And he's one who's, you talk about leadership by example. He's definitely one of the ones that leads by example. And it's carrying down with showing the underclassmen what it takes to be a successful player.
You decided on your final roster this week, and I noticed that Tevin Washington is a part of it, a freshman. I know that was kind of a decision, whether you were going to have him on the JV team or I guess the freshman team, or on the varsity team, but he will be on varsity. Do you expect him to contribute? Talk about the decision on why he decided to keep Tevin around. I know he's a pretty athletic kid. Yeah,
it's one of the things that we look at, and I've said if I'm going to pull somebody up, they're going to help us out in the varsity level as well as the JV, and he's been showing progress and everything. He still has some work to do and everything, and I think it's one of the things that will help the team out, number one, but also help Tevin out specifically as he progresses as a Norwin Knight.
Got to ask you about the Latrobe Wildcats coming into a Knight Stadium here tonight. It's so interesting, Coach. This matchup's so interesting because, and I know both you and Jason Marucco say it has nothing to do with us. Keep the attention off of us. But it is interesting because you have two teams that might be running different things than what people are, acclimated to. Talk about the Latrobe Wildcats. Will we see some of that wing tee that Coach Marucco got off of Coach Ruffner from Mount Pleasant? I know he said he was going to bring it over. Is that what you've seen from them on film?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, Coach Marucco does a great job job. He's a first-year head coach as well, but he's been coaching for many years, native of Latrobe, and you can see, there's been progress from, week 1 to week 2. You can see he's doing a great job with that. Definitely runs a wing tee, and that's one of the offenses that will test your discipline on the defensive side. And so that being said, you have to make sure that we're playing aggressive defense, but also being fundamentally sound so that we're not, giving up anything cheap with some misdirection plays or anything to that nature and different formations and everything.
I know you've kind of touched on it, but just one final thing for you. Your keys to victory here tonight, but also just your keys for success this season for the Norwin Knights.
Well, the biggest thing is we have to come. I'm a huge team guy, coming together as a team. And one of the things I tell the players is that if we go out there and we battle for the 48-plus minutes that we need, whatever it takes for that game, and we leave it all on the field, we'll take the results, whatever they would happen to be. And hopefully there are a lot of W's, but most importantly, we got to control what we can do. We have the thing, one of the rules that we have is do your very best. And if they go out there and every person does their very best, does their job, hopefully it leads to some W's, but that's something that we're going to look at emphasizing throughout the course of the year.
Coach, I know everybody at Norwin is very thrilled to have you controlling the program now, and we're very happy to be working with you all season, broadcasting Norwin football to the masses. And good luck tonight against Latrobe Wildcats. Should be a fun opener. Thank you. You guys do a great job. All right, very excited. Thank you. Thanks, Coach. That's Coach Dave Brozeski in his first season, technically, I guess, heading into his 18th season now at Norwin after 17 years as an assistant. Coming up next, you will hear an interview that I had a chance to do with Zach Hall just a couple of moments ago. As we continue live, the coach interview brought to you by the Ground Round in Greensburg. We've got what you like. It's Norwin Latrobe here tonight as we kick off the 2014 season on the Westmoreland Sports Network.